Hi, this is Joseph Williams, son of John Williams, and you are watching the Nerf Herder Council.
Why, you stuck-up, half-witted, scruffy-looking nerf herder.
You can't use that word. Only we can use that word.
You're tuned in to the Nerf Herder Council, your source for Star Wars opinion, conversation, and debate. Featuring your hosts, JT.
I don't care. It's close enough. I'm not here to be accurate, god damn it. I'm here to just say it.
AJ.
They literally sneak out by hiding a girl under a giant trench coat like a Three Stooges gag. What the f***, Disney Plus? Come on now.
On this episode of the Nerf Herder Council, we rank the 11 Star Wars shows produced for the Disney Plus platform under the guidance of Kathleen Kennedy. This is the Nerf Herder Council. What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Nerf Herder Council. I am your host, JT. We are live on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, as well as the YouTube channel of the Virtual Cantina Network. We are at these locations every other Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, we are brought to you by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/NHC for your 30-day trial and a free audiobook download. If you would like to score some Virtual Cantina Network swag, just go to tpublic.com/user/virtual-cantina. And if you would like to get some customizable Nerf Herder Council swag, just go to shop.nerfherdercouncil.com. Without further ado, let's bring on the master of clumsy, the CrossFit champion of the world. This poor guy doesn't understand that you're supposed to lift the weights, not drop them on your face. He is, of course, my brother, AJ. Sorry, man.
You are such a dick.
Well, you were going to tell the story anyway. Someone's going to ask.
Wow.
I figured
Well,
I'd get it.
let's just fire off a comment real quick then. Nick Hall, let's go. Gym days hit different with NHC. Sometimes gym days hit back at the NHC.
Right.
Yeah, so there's a movement that came up in Saturday's workout, that came up again in Monday's workout, that involves taking a barbell from right in front of you like this, and then you're supposed to press it straight up overhead. And the whole technique is you got to like suck your face back away to make room for the bar, and then put your face back where it was, and then you're supposed to do the same on the way down. I didn't quite time that right, so I just brought the barbell straight down across my nose on Saturday in warm-ups, and again in warm-ups on Monday. So at least I had the badass visual of having a bloody nose, like blood dripping off my nose as I'm working out anyway, because I'm just a savage like that. But yeah, I don't feel too bright for this one.
So what you're saying is like the Big Lebowski, sometimes you eat the bar, and well, sometimes the bar eats you.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
There it is, Miranda. Self-imposed nose job. Yep, there it is.
Yep.
Oh,
Ain't
man.
no hiding this one.
See, it could be worse. It could be like me. I've only worked out 3 times in the last 7 days. So you're better off than me. So I don't have any wounds, just soreness. So,
Hey, good for you on that, man. I didn't know you were doing that.
yeah, well, I don't talk about it because I always fail. It's why you fail. Look at Chesty Crawley. That takes some serious skill, AJ. Nicole. Whoa, I'm sorry for activating PTSD, AJ.
Look, like any other sport, consistency in form is key, right? Like just like golf, you got to, doesn't matter how bad your golf swing is. Your golf swing has to just be the same swing first, then you fix it. I know exactly what I'm doing wrong with this lift now. So, I won't do it again.
I hope so, because if you keep doing that, your nose is going to look like Artie Lang's.
harsh reference, but I get it. Although in our family, I don't think a little rhinoplasty could do any harm. I mean, if I'm just going to be shaving off layers over time, that's actually probably a good thing.
Right. Well played. So what is tonight's beverage of choice?
Tonight is Pepsi Zero Sugar. Hitting the hard stuff.
Cherry Coke Zero. We're partying it up on the Nerf Herder Council tonight.
Might be a little something extra in there, though.
I was gonna say, not me. No, nothing extra for me. Only fluids, the doctor said.
I knew you were going there,
dude. You know that's we should review the Pantera home videos on this show one time. We'll do like an NHC Talking Into Infinity crossover. We'll just let's get hammered and review we should do a watch along. How we would do it, I don't know, but fuck it. The views of the Nerf Herder Council don't necessarily reflect those of the don't necessarily reflect those of the Virtual Cantina Network, and there could be some bad language, like the F-bomb I just dropped. So if you're not into that sort of thing, go ahead and tune out right now. So, yeah. Nick Hall, there it is. I don't know why I always forget that, man. Oh my gosh. There you go.
So we should get a counter for that stuff.
Right. Chastity Crawley says, coming from someone who consistently does spontaneous gravity checks quite often, gravity can be fickle. Yes, it can.
It's a cruel mistress, yes.
Wow, well phrased. All right. So all
right, I'm gonna announce something to the crowd here. John is so out of touch. He doesn't know what a tier list is. So this is why we're doing ranking the shows instead of a tier list, because he's like, what the hell is a tier list?
Well, once you send it to me, I'm like, oh, one of those. But they annoyed the ever living bejesus out of me because everybody on the Dream Theater fan page on Facebook, there's like 1 million of them, and it pisses me off. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care where you have the albums tiered. I don't give a shit. I don't. And I see them constantly. I'm like, ugh.
See, I like it better than ranking, because ranking means you have to put one ahead of another, even when they might be equally as good.
No, you could do what I did. I was on a Van Halen podcast. I was on the Two Bobs Rockcast last night, which they go A through Z, and each letter they do a discography of a band. And I was asked to come on last night to discuss Van Halen. Go figure. And they do a ranking, but they also assign a letter grade. And I literally assigned 10 of the 12 albums as an A. And I flat said, like, I can't nitpick this shit. So, for me, again, ranking's a little easier for me because I don't know how I would do like a letter grade. It's just, that's way more difficult for me. And for me, like, the ranking is like, it's I don't know if visceral's the right word, because I just sit here and I go, okay, which show would I rather watch? If I'm going to watch this one or this one, which one? And then, I come up with an initial ranking, I guess. I guess at what I think it's going to be. I just like go off the cuff. And then I kind of start putting them in actual order after that. It's like, okay, would I watch this one or this one? Oh, that one. All right. So that's going to go move up a spot. And I kind of do it that way. So if you want to do your tier, that's fine. I suck at it, and, so
that's all right. You're a Disney shill. We get it.
I'm not a Disney shill.
Everything's awesome according to you. So that works.
Well, a lot of it is. What's wrong with that? I forgot I'm supposed to be one of those online dickheads. Like, oh, Disney's woke. Disney sucks. They ruined Star Wars. Okay, sure. Whatever. Not doing it. See,
all right. Well, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to. Chastity said, you graded Van Halen yesterday. You can grade things, kind of. No, I really can't. Van Halen was easy because I love all the Van Halen records, man. So that's a little different. All right, so go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Yeah, so I know this is a pretty common topic, like ranking stuff or tier lists, but I really thought it was a good time to check in on this because of the whole rumors of KK stepping down. So I felt like, you know what, let's just take a look at everything that's been done under her watch on Disney Plus, and then because the common thing is to say like, oh, she's terrible and Star Wars is so much better without her. But if we actually look back at the body of work, like, do we really feel that way? So
Yeah.
hopefully through ranking this stuff and talking about it a little bit, we can, kind of see if maybe, I don't know, the internet might be a little bit wrong and hyperbolic about these things. Just a thought. It's a possibility, right?
No, I agree. I thought this was a good idea for that exact reason, because I think when you actually look at a list of things and you kind of go, well, that was actually better than I thought, or maybe I didn't dig this as much as I kind of anticipated, or something like that. I thought it was a good topic, and we have more than enough stuff to choose from now. Some of these shows have multiple seasons. That kind of played into my rankings a little bit.
So that's actually a point that we did not discuss prior to coming on the air tonight. Are we doing this on a per season basis or just the show as total? So like all 3 seasons of Mandalorian count as one thing?
I just did it as all one thing. I took it in totality. I figured it was easier than, season 1 of Mando is better than, season 2 of Bad Batch or whatever, So for me it was just in totality.
Okay. All right. Some caveats here though, guys. We're not getting into like all the shows. So like Young Jedi Adventures. No, we don't care. We're not gonna do that one. What's it called? Star Wars Blips, I think. There's like little 1 minute shorts of BB-8 doing crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Doesn't count. We're not doing like the Simpsons special 3-minute Star Wars cartoon.
Right.
So this is just the full animated stuff and the live action stuff that has happened on Disney Plus so far, because that all happened under Kathleen Kennedy's watch. So
yeah, we have 11 shows to choose from to rank. So Nick Hall says Kathleen Kennedy gets a bad rep. She swings and takes chances. Yeah, you know what? I will forever be a Kathleen Kennedy apologist. My boss at work is notorious for hating on her. He just can't stand her for some reason. And I get into it with him all the time about it. I'm like, man, you wouldn't have all this stuff without her. Do you want no Star Wars? Because that's what we had. So you can get this, some stuff you like, some stuff you don't, or you can have nothing. Those are your choices. And to me, it's a pretty easy choice. So
that's the thing is, like, if you're still a fan of Star Wars at all in the last 10 years, then she's got to get credit for that stuff too. You can't just hold her accountable for the stuff you don't like and then not give her credit for the stuff that you do.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I just think she's unfairly maligned, I guess would be the way that I would phrase it. She catches a lot more hate than respect, which I will never understand. We got new Indiana Jones. We got, new Star Wars. What's wrong with that? How can that possibly be a bad thing? Christ, man, the Disney Plus platform is basically because of her. And look at all the great stuff that we have on there. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I will die on that hill. I'll die on that hill. I've said it on the show before and I'll say it again. So I will definitely die on the Kathleen Kennedy hill. So
yeah, I was absolutely I was absolutely on board with everything. Like you said, she's done so much good stuff. And in a career as long as hers, of course, not everything's going to be a hit, but you got to keep taking shots at least. Otherwise, Star Wars was basically done. For all intents and purposes, it was done before the sale to Disney and Kathleen Kennedy taking over. What did we have? We had like the Family Guy specials. That was pretty much the closest thing to new Star Wars as we got, was like a spin-off cartoon thing on another show.
Yep.
Robot Chicken Star Wars specials. Like, there was nothing new in Star Wars at that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, to say that like, her tenure was a bust, like, no, it wasn't. It absolutely was not.
I think it was a rousing success. And I don't love everything that they did, but I think it was a rousing success. I've said it a million times. Even if you don't like everything, one thing that they do can lead to something that you do like. So,
Well put.
I don't see how that's a bad thing. You know, like I don't, you know, you and I are notoriously anti-Rebels, but Rebels gave birth to Ahsoka, which tons of people love. So even if you're somebody who didn't necessarily care for Rebels a lot, maybe you loved Ahsoka, you know, or, you know, if you're an Ahsoka fan, you got more Ahsoka Tano. So, you know, I don't know. I don't want to go off on a tirade here because we got a show to do, but I've never understood the Kathleen Kennedy hate. I never will. I'm extremely grateful for her. And if I ever met her, I'd be like, man, thanks for all the kick-ass stuff. Like, I mean, shit, man. For me, I mean, just Rogue One and Dial of Destiny and Solo. I'd be like, hell yeah, dude. Thank you. Like, just those 3 movies alone are worth the price of admission for me. I mean,
I think you just got us canceled just for mentioning Solo in a positive light. So thanks.
Why?
For that.
Oh, fuck that. That movie's awesome.
We're not allowed to like that movie, remember?
Screw that, man. I love that movie. It's so damn fun. That is such a fun movie.
Well, that's
we should do an episode about it. We should do it.
We should. Maybe we should revisit Solo again. Did we
revisiting Solo? How many times have we revisited Solo?
Yeah, it's like Garage Days from Metallica. Revisited. Okay,
exactly. Sure. Revisiting Solo 5,000. All right. So let's get into the topic here. We'll go obviously from the bottom of our lists. So we're going from 11 to 1. Full disclosure from me, a couple of these I have only seen a couple episodes, if that. The reason I only saw that much is because it didn't grab me.
Great show prep there, bud.
Well, dude, I wasn't interested. I don't have to see everything. If I don't like it, then it goes, you know, I know where it's going on my list. So, hey.
All right. Fair enough. Do we want to list it by show and then give our ranking for it? Or do we want to start at the bottom of our list and we'll see where we end up?
I like starting at the bottom. You know, I think that kind of, you know, it leaves suspense for like the top parts of the list, and it's a little more easy to have a conversation, I think, when you actually are giving a live ranking. So,
okay. Besides, I think we can pretty much steamroll right through number 11. Do you want to do a 3, 2, 1 and see if we have the same show?
I don't think we do, but yeah, you want to do it? 3, 2,
sure.
1. Ahsoka.
Visions. Oh, really? You rated Ahsoka as your worst, below Visions.
If you don't like cursing, get ready to hit mute. Yeah, I did. You know why? Mother fucking space fucking whales. Okay? And the world between worlds. So yes, it's in last place. It has those shitty goddamn Purgles.
See, this is why you're full of shit, man. Neither of those things were invented in Ahsoka.
I don't care.
They're both from Rebels.
I don't care. They could have stayed there. They could have stayed there.
They didn't. Trash.
What, Ahsoka?
Rebels. I caught an episode the other day on like one of those 24/7 streaming apps. There was just like a Star Wars Rebels channel, and good God, is it awful? Ugh,
I want to go back and watch it, but it's so difficult to rewatch something that you know that you weren't into. You know, it's so
okay. Yeah, that's a good point. I think that's part of the problem with going with the bottom of the list is that when you're turned off by something, you just start coming up with more and more reasons to hate it. It's really hard to get out of that funk.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you didn't like Ahsoka from the start, then the Purgles are just going to piss you off that much more.
Yeah, I will always hate the Purgles. I can't stand them. I mean, it's become a show joke. It's like a MacGuffin, I guess. Would that be? It's probably the wrong thing. What's the hell's that movie term for something like this? It's like it's not the trope? MacGuffin. Yeah, it's probably a show trope. MacGuffin, you idiot. That's a bird. Yeah, I know.
MacGuffin is a term. It's the thing that everybody's seeking.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's
like
what.
Like the golden idol in Raiders of the Lost Ark, or the Ark itself.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm an idiot, as we all know, and I just proved it yet again. So, yeah, I mean, the thing with Ahsoka is, I just I mean, it I have to admit, it's the space whales. Like, it was too rebelsy. It was too rebelsy for me, and I don't care for rebels. And I got Rebels vibes off of it, which I didn't like. The World Between Worlds I don't like, and I got that. There was a lot of cool stuff in there. Don't get me wrong. I like seeing Anakin Skywalker in live action from back then, from Clone Wars times, like, from the cartoon. He's dressed up like the cartoon and whatnot. I kind of dug the story and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you get Thrawn, which was awesome. But I have to stick with my hatred of the Purgles, and I had to put it last. It just pissed me off too much.
I really can't give you too much crap for that. As much as that's the weird thing about animation to live action is these things look totally normal in cartoons, but so much of that show to me just looked like high level cosplay. Like a lot of these animated designs just don't translate to live action, and seeing a lot of that stuff for the first time in live action, it did not really work for me.
Yeah.
I got a lot of issues with that show, and it's not going to be too much farther up the list for me. But
well, your number 11 is Vision, so talk a little bit about that because you've seen a lot more of that than I have.
I only saw the first season. I did that watch along with Steve, and I'm just not an anime fan. And this whole thing of like, well, we're just going to turn Star Wars over to a bunch of animation studios to make shows that don't count. And I'm not a huge canon nerd like that, where like it doesn't count. Like, where's the continuity? Why do I care? But so much of this stuff, like the aesthetic of Star Wars was taking like familiar things but mixing them up and sci-fying them up enough that they weren't immediately recognizable. And so much of Visions is just the opposite. Like the one that everyone loves is this thing called The Last Ronin, and it's literally just like Star Wars in feudal Japan. So instead of samurai, you've got Jedi or Sith. So instead of samurai swords, they've got lightsabers. But they still live in like thatch roof huts with paper doors, and they've got droids that are made of wood and have like the straw hat, the Asian style straw hat, whatever pointy dome thingy that they have. It was just so obviously like just Japan, but let's replace all the sword blades with saber blades. It was just paper thin. It wasn't clever at all. And of course it was just a sword fight. Like, lightsaber battles aren't cool on their own. They're cool because they tell a part of the story. So if it's just dude walks into town, he's got a red blade, other dude's got a blue blade, and they fight. So what? It was just dumb.
Yeah,
so much of that first season of Visions was a lot like watching like Robot Chicken, but take all the jokes out. So it's this weird visual style, but not funny and not telling any stories that have any consequence to them.
So there's nothing to it. I mean, full disclosure, that's my number 10. I tried to watch a few episodes of that, and I'm with you. I'm like, why do I care about this? And granted, just like you said, I'm also not an anime fan, so it's not really up my alley per se. I've never really been a big fan of people taking something classic and saying, well, here's what I would do with it. It's kind of like a cover band or a famous band covering a famous song. Like, play the song how it's supposed to be played. Quit screwing with it. Like, it's already a classic. You're not going to come up with something better. It's already perfect as it is. Leave it alone. So when people start screwing with it, I get it. That's the point of the show. I'm just really not a fan of that sort of thing. Because I just huff and puff and go, that's not what Star Wars is. That's not how it goes. So like, right, the what if thing I never got into and all that kind of thing. And, Visions for me, like, just none of it really grabbed me, because I mean, it is so tightly compartmentalized into these short little bits that even like the little bit of storytelling they were able to do just wasn't anything for me. I was like, okay, like you, it was just kind of pointless in a way. You know,
and the thing is, like, I love a good animation anthology. Like, I love the Animatrix. I thought that was cool, and that's a whole bunch of different art studios doing their own style, but they're all telling canonical stories to the Matrix, or Fantasia, or Love, Sex, Robots on Netflix, or I think it's called Secret Level. I think is the new one on Amazon. It's all video game stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's just different studios, and they all pick like a video game, and they do like a 5 to 10 minute short animated film in that universe. Okay, fine. So I'm not hating on the animation and the what if of it all, like you were saying, but this stuff just didn't really grab me because, like you said, it's Star Wars doesn't need its formula messed with to that degree. Like, I don't want to see what someone else would do with Star Wars. I want to see Star Wars have some new things added to it.
Yeah.
Like, if they were going to be like, okay, studios, you guys can do this. Just, it is going to count. So just make sure you don't mess with whatever we've got going on.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
You're sort of in your own little corner that doesn't affect the main storyline. That's the way out of it. Don't be like, well, here's what would happen if feudal Japan was in Star Wars. Well, it's not. So just give up on that shit.
Stop it. Stop it right now.
Right.
Chastity Crawley says, only exception is Jimi Hendrix and the national anthem. That is classic now. Well, and yes, Chastity, but I think the difference there is that is so unbelievably good that it has to reach that Jimi Hendrix national anthem level of quality in order to stand out and be an exception. And I definitely don't think that Visions achieves that or comes anywhere close. And I think there's, I mean, you could say, for example, Van Halen, You Really Got Me. I think more people know the Van Halen version of that song than the Kinks version, and the Kinks is the original. So when you do it that well,
you've got a lot of songs in Van Halen's catalog that are covers. So
yeah,
I don't know if the music analogy really holds up here because, boy, one, would be on it all night, and two, I know of a lot of songs where I like the other version better.
Yeah, but those are few and far between. And I like for example, again, when you think about You Really Got Me, you think about Van Halen more so than the Kinks. But when you think of Pretty Woman, you're thinking of Roy Orbison, and then Van Halen. Like, even though the Van Halen version's great, so I don't like when people screw with things, and Visions just screws with it way too much for me in a medium that I'm not a fan of. So it just didn't work for me. So what do you have at number 10?
Well, I did want to ask you one more question on this topic though of Visions. The one thing I will give it credit for, as much as we say like it's Star Wars, you don't have to mess with it. You do still have to make attempts to bring new fans in. So there's this argument of like, well, maybe you can pull anime fans into the Star Wars world by catering to anime fans. Give them some Star Wars anime, and then they'll be like, hey, that was really cool. What else you got? So how do you feel about that? Like, sometimes you got to step outside the formula to try to lure in a different audience. I don't think it was successful in this case, but I don't know. Is it a problem for you?
No, I don't have to like it to be okay with its existence. As I said earlier in the show, and as I've said on the show many times, even if they put out something that I don't like, I enjoy the fact that it can open up a possibility for something that I might like, or I like that it's something that other people might enjoy, or they might not like it and they might get something they enjoy. I just like that it's there because it leads to more stuff. And anytime there's more stuff, somebody might get that eureka moment and go, holy shit. Like, yeah, what if we did this? And then all of a sudden you're off and running with some of the greatest Star Wars content you've ever seen. So, Kale McLeish. So far, I'm on Team AJ. Kale just tuned in. He missed the first half hour. Says, did I miss a Purgle rant? Kale? Yes, you did. A minor one.
You did.
A minor one. But it was,
I feel like your Purgle rants are losing steam lately, bud.
Well, look, I had that one huge one, and I'm not going to beat it into the ground. So My feelings on Purgle are well known. So, anyways. All right. So, what do you have at number 10?
At number 10, I have The Acolyte.
Ouch.
That is the first time I've sat down to watch a Star Wars show on a weekly basis, and my reaction wasn't excitement. It was, all right, I guess I have to.
You didn't have that. You didn't even have that with Rebels.
It hit different because it's one, it was a cartoon, and two,
it was shorter.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, the hype for Acolyte was so big, right? Like the sales pitch was awesome. This idea of like, oh, we're gonna tell a story from the dark side's perspective. I'm like, yes, let's fucking see that.
Yeah.
And then I said it before, man. Good story told badly. Even the visual stuff, like your wallpaper behind you just looks like a bunch of people holding glowing sticks. Like they don't look like lightsabers. So the visual didn't work for me, and the way the story played out didn't work for me, to the point where I was actually confused, thinking that I was watching something that was deliberately told in a bad way to reveal later that this is the true series of events. And no, it was just told in a bad, confusing way. Like I had to write into my head, my headcanon had to explain why the show made so little sense. That's bad. That's really bad. I could see why it got canceled after one season, because apparently it was the second most watched show on Disney Plus last year, and they still canceled it.
I don't know how
Disney knew they had a
that.
turd on their hands.
How is it a turd if everybody watched it? By the way, what was the most watched? Was it Mando season 1?
It was like Percy Jackson or something.
What?
Yeah, Percy Jackson and the Olympians.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's the most watched Star Wars show of last year, and they still canceled it. So it's not just me hating on it. Something at the business level also said, do not invest in this any further.
I don't understand that. Like, hey, there's an audience. All right, screw it. We're canceling it. Like, what? Okay. Unless that was like somebody's passion project. I mean, dude, you had Yoda in there. You had Plagueis. How?
Okay, you just covered 5 seconds of the entire series, so keep going.
Well, think about where it could go. If you're introducing that sort of thing, I mean, come on. And
that is a problem with streaming. I do hate that about streaming in general, how like you've got to nail it right out the gate. In times past, I mean, one of the classic examples is like no Star Trek series. In the 90s, we had like 7 seasons of 3 shows in a row. None of them really found their footing before halfway through season 2 at the earliest, if not season 3. And it's just growing pains. The actors, the writers, everybody gets better at their job over time on a show like that. So to expect these streaming shows to just be like perfect from day one is unrealistic. And I think that's what doomed the Acolyte. Like you said, look at all these cool things that we're setting up. Yeah, but was season 1 any good? And the answer is not really.
All right. I mean, to each their own. I'm not going to talk you out of your own ranking. I feel the show is somewhat unfairly maligned personally. I definitely see the flaws in it. I've got it a little bit higher on my list. But yeah. I definitely don't have it at 10.
All right. Well, you've got it higher. So what were its redeeming qualities to you?
I thought it was a cool story. It was unique. I liked the fight. I liked kind of like the cliffhanger. The cliffhanger thing kind of got old a little bit, like because every episode you're like, oh, I'm going to find something out, and then you didn't. I'm like, God damn it, just tell me. We've done this before. Stop with the effing
right. Like how many? I wonder how many of the 8 episodes actually ended with Master Saul being like, okay, I will tell you.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, damn it,
and
Saul,
then
just
next
say
episode picks up with, no, I won't. We're doing something else. Like,
exactly.
Damn it.
Just
like,
joking.
Dude, it's like South Park did it like what at the end of season 1, I think, like who is Cartman's father?
Yes. Yeah.
They waited that entire like summer break, and then like the finale will not be shown tonight. Like, damn it. But we did get Not Without My Anus though, so that was actually a very good swerve.
There you go. Yeah, I just, I liked the Plagueis reveal. We'd waited for that forever. Having Yoda at the end, you're like, ooh, how are they going to tie all this together? I thought Saul was a great character. I really liked him. There was a lot to like. I think when we did our season review, obviously we both said it started out a little better than it ended, but I think there was a lot to work with there, and it sucks that they're not going to revisit it. So,
yeah, I do think a second season would have been a marked improvement for sure.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, like sometimes they have to get their footing, and who knows? Again, maybe they had this overarching story, and this was just the first part of it. Like maybe it gets awesome for people that didn't like it. I mean, we don't know. We'll never know now, but I mean, who knows? So, anyway, moving on, at number 9, I have Tales of the Jedi or Tales of the Empire, whichever one you prefer. I have it down here because I barely watched any of it. Again, I didn't dislike it. It just didn't grab me. I tried, and I was like, okay. This one I might revisit though. Visions I will not. Ahsoka I will only revisit just so I'm caught up as to what's happening in the next season. But yeah, Tales of the Jedi or Tales of the Empire, whichever one. I might check it out again.
Yeah,
it's just not. This one simply didn't grab me. So I've got it down here. I don't really have experience with it, so we can move to your number 9. I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, the Tales series is interesting. I would like it to continue. I think it's a good format. The idea of like, hey, we've got these little plot points. We can't build an entire show around them for sure. Not even an entire episode of another show around them, but they are worth telling in a lot of cases, at least. Like I do like the opportunity to dive deeper into certain characters, but you're right, like ultimately it just doesn't matter very much. And especially the Jedi one, like 3 episodes about Dooku and 3 episodes about Ahsoka. I'm like, okay, well, it's nice to see exactly how Yaddle got offed. Thank you for that. But otherwise, like, we didn't really need to know that much more about Dooku. I feel like we already kind of know his general story. And Ahsoka kind of the same. Like, we didn't learn anything new about these characters by getting those chapters. And then you get Tales of the Empire, and you get Barriss Offee, which is nice to pick up her story after Clone Wars, because she was outed as the Jedi who bombed the temple at the end of season 5 of Clone Wars, and then she was never seen or heard from again. So it was nice to pick up with her again. But then you get Morgan Elsbeth, and like, was that character really so critical that we needed more backstory on that?
Yeah. Well,
ultimately they're a little bit like pointless, but I would love like a Tales of the Underworld or Tales of the Bounty Hunters or something,
Yeah. I see, and I think that's my problem with it is, me, sometimes I think there's too much detail into certain things. I'm like, okay, this is getting a little much. Like, it's almost like they're just trying too hard to, expound upon certain events or characters or something. And maybe that's why it didn't grab me, because I just didn't care. I'm like, I don't really need this backstory. Maybe that was it. Like I said, I didn't think it was bad. It just didn't grab me. I thought Visions was bad. This was not bad. It wasn't anything. I was like, oh, I have to finish this. I got to get through this type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Although it was, I can see why they made it though. I mean, they already had all the assets and everything made, the animation models and everything for the 7th season of the Clone Wars into Bad Batch. So they already had like everything they needed. They just needed to like make a few new character models and then go. So yeah, it was relatively inexpensive and kind of harmless. So that's why I didn't rank it so low, because ultimately it just didn't matter or offend.
Yeah.
A lot of my lower ranked shows are based around potential versus outcome, like if the hype was up here, but the delivery was down here, then that's a problem. But if it's like, we knew it wasn't going to be important and it just kind of wasn't. All right, fine.
Okay.
It's harmless.
By the way, AJ's running a scroll at the bottom of the screen, keeping you up to date with where we're at with our rankings. So we've got numbers 11 and 10 so far. I just gave my number 9, which is Tales of the Jedi or Tales of the Empire. Discuss Metal Joe, our very good friend Joseph Friend, who we actually hung out with in person here in Cleveland 2 weeks ago. We got very, very, very drunk together. That was an awesome night. He says, only Disney Plus shows tonight. So you dodged droids again. Well played, sirs. Yes, we did. Kale McLeish says, fair enough. I think Tales, let's just call it Tales, is kind of stocking stuffer material. Looking forward to this year's release, but yeah. And Discuss Metal Joe on point again. He says Ahsoka was John's least favorite because Purgle, right? That is correct. Purgle
You are so predictable, JT.
I don't give a shit. I the hell with those space whales. So anyway, what do you have in your number 9 position of your rankings?
All right.
Are you gonna do what I think you're gonna do? You're not doing it? God damn it!
Number 9 is Kenobi.
God
Number 9 is absolutely Kenobi.
No.
Kenobi is not a good show.
No.
You bring back Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen to be like, here's what happened after episode 3, and we get that piece of trash. We get that boring ass shit where fucking Vader can't even figure out that he's got 2 ships to throw at one little escape pod. We get fucking lightsabers in the dark where we can't even see them fighting. We get bullshit Fortress Inquisitorius where they literally sneak out by hiding a girl under a giant trench coat like a Three Stooges gag. What the fuck, Disney Plus? Come on now.
Wrong.
Okay, I'm done. I'm done. My rants are much shorter. Tell me I'm wrong.
You are wrong. You're a goddamn more.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
No, AJ, you're not wrong. You're just an asshole.
All right, you said I'm not wrong though.
There we go. A big Lebowski quote there. Yeah, you're very, very wrong. I have Kenobi a little bit later in my ranking. I think you'll be surprised where it's at, but yeah, you're wrong. I'll talk about Kenobi when I get to it. But yeah, you're very wrong. Yeah, you're very wrong.
No, man. Okay. You had what's his nuts, the fake Jedi, the guy who stands out by being the exact same guy in everything he shows up in.
Yeah, that guy. Didn't we agree we can't stand that guy?
Yeah, exactly.
That
and then you get the weird mix and match of like, okay, well, we're going to bring back all the actors from episode 3 that show up. So, okay, so we get Bail Organa. Good job. And we get, obviously, Ewan and Hayden again. So, awesome. We do all that great stuff. And then you do this weird Grand Inquisitor thing where he's nothing like his cartoon counterpart whatsoever.
What do you mean?
Dude, he doesn't sound like him. He doesn't look like him. It's like they did a complete rework on the look of his character for no reason. And then you go and you do stuff like, you even went so far as getting Owen and Beru back. Okay, so clearly they're trying to appeal to all the nostalgia of episode 3. And then anything that came from Rebels, they're like, close enough. You know, he might have won a costume contest at Star Wars Celebration.
That's because Rebels blows.
Well, okay, you want to talk about the story then in Reva? So her entire thing was, I want revenge on Vader, so I'm going to become an Inquisitor, spend my entire life grooming myself to get revenge, and my revenge plot is to go through the assake of finding Obi-Wan Kenobi, which the Empire could not do for 20 goddamn years. 10 years at this point, sorry. So Vader will come after Obi-Wan, and then while Vader's distracted with Obi-Wan, I can then try to kill him. Except she never actually gets to Vader while Obi-Wan is distracting him. It just makes no sense. The story is so fucking contrived.
Oh my God.
And then they're busting out Jedi powers that have never before been seen in live action. Like, Kenobi was never that crazy powerful, even in the cartoons. But then all of a sudden, by episode 4, he's like, shit, man, I can barely even hold a lightsaber. 10 years on from this. Never mind the fact he got thrown in fire but didn't burn. So we've got asbestos robes, Kenobi. Need I go on?
No. Kale McLeish says, can we get Trump on the podcast just to tell AJ he's wrong? Discuss Metal Joe. Joseph Wren is on your side. He says, you're right about the fight in the dark. Somebody thought the glowing swords would be cool in the dark, and they were very wrong. Very wrong. Kale McLeish says, Baby Leia, though. Nick Hall says, Baby Leia was my least favorite thing, Kale. Kale says, so you're wrong. Gotcha. Nick says, it's a difference of opinion. We got some fan-on-fan crime happening. That's how you know it's a good show. There we go. Debates in the chat. Yeah, I will get to Kenobi later on in my ranking. I would just like to quote Anchorman 2 before I move on to my number 8 and tell you, no offense, but you are a stupid asshole. So there we go.
You didn't get to your number 9, dude.
Yes, I did. Tales of the Jedi Empire. That was
I thought
my
that was
number
your
9.
number 10.
No. My 11 was Ahsoka. My 10 was Visions, and my number 9 was Tales of the Jedi / Empire. My number 8. Okay. My number 8. And I think this is only because I'm not really familiar with the rest of the series like you are, was Clone Wars Season 7. I think going forward, these are the things I'm familiar with. So it got a little difficult to rank here in a couple of them because there's stuff that I really, really enjoy. So it got to be pretty difficult. But yeah, Clone Wars Season 7, I thought it was great. I thought it was great. I enjoyed it. The last episode was really cool. The whole Order 66 recreation type of thing. Ending in the snow, ending in the snow and all that. It was cool. I haven't gotten into Clone Wars like you have. Again, that's one I keep trying to get into. It's not that I dislike it or I'm forcing myself. It's like I know eventually it's going to happen. I'm just waiting for it to click. And I think it's because I'm doing it in the order of, instead of season order, I'm doing that chronological order that they put out on StarWars.com. So I'm actually watching it in a linear story, which means I got to start out with all those really crappy episodes from season 1. There's a lot of like junky stuff at the beginning, but I thought Clone Wars Season 7 was pretty good. I did watch all of it. I don't remember much of it because I was familiar with it enough, but I wasn't quite familiar enough to really understand everything that was happening. But I thought it was cool. One of my favorite things about it is the fact that it exists. I love that the Clone Wars was so damn popular that they were like, you know what, we're going to finish this thing out. And I thought they did an awesome job because it's kind of like a band. When you have this band that was like active for a long time and then they stop for quite a while and like, oh, we're doing a comeback record. Most times that comeback record is kind of, at best. So I wondered if they could kind of get back the quote unquote magic that they had with the last couple seasons of Clone Wars when it was really on fire and everybody was really into it and just, it was really rolling. And I thought they did, at least from the fan reaction to it, I would say. And the fact that I'm still trying to get really into Clone Wars, the fact that it grabbed me like it did, I thought it says a lot. So I thought it was good. That being said, I'm more familiar with the other shows that are ahead of it. So that's why they got ranked ahead of this one. But it's not at number 8 out of 11 just because, I don't enjoy it. I thought it was good. So my number 8 is Clone Wars Season 7. What do you have?
Okay. I'm gonna put I'm putting Ahsoka in this spot. I'm still in the feel more negative than positive about it side of my list, and yeah, this one, I mean, we got Thrawn back. I think there was enough good stuff in here to redeem it from the absolutely reprehensible stuff. As much as you hate the Purgles, I think the worst thing this show did was Sabine surviving the first lightsaber duel.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck, does a lightsaber do anything anymore? That's if there's a big demerit
Yes.
on the Disney Plus shows, it's that sabers don't do shit. You can get,
Yes.
unless you're getting triple tapped like Jackie in The Acolyte, then fuck. I mean, you're fine.
Yeah.
We watched Reva take it to the gut and she's fine. We've watched Fennec Shand get gut shot and she's fine. We watched Sabine take it and get right back up, a day later out of the hospital and she's good to go. Like, come on, man. It really makes Qui-Gon look like a bitch, doesn't he?
Yes, it does. And it's almost become the new, like, stormtroopers can't hit anything. I know we've discussed it on the show before about, like, cheapening the impact of a lightsaber blow, but you are not wrong. You are definitely
they
not
got
wrong.
stabbed. 7 or 8 more of those and they're really going to be in trouble.
No. Don't do that. Don't do that. If you stab him, you'll just make him mad.
Right, exactly.
I'm full of quotes from other stuff tonight, man. Forget it. He's rolling. All right, so then I will move on to my number 7.
Mhm.
This is where I have Acolyte. And
Okay, so this is, like you said, you're into your side of the list where things are better than worse, right?
yeah,
So you feel more good stuff about this show than bad.
yes, definitely.
Okay.
I enjoyed the show. Like we said a minute ago, I won't dwell on this one too much because we talked about it a minute ago. But yeah, I just don't have a problem with this one like so many other people do. I really don't. I'm bummed to not see where that story could have gone. It'll forever piss me off seeing all the dummies online saying, "Oh, Star Wars is woke, is space lesbians." Like, I had that huge screaming fit, a couple months ago about that, which I 100% stand by. Again, it was an original story, and I wish I could see where it would go. And I give you thanks for letting me know that it was the second most watched show on Disney Plus last year, because I didn't know that. And it's surprising to me that they would cancel a show that is that popular. So,
I think it's one of those shows actually that had it got a second season and been run by somebody else, I think it would have been fine. Like, again, the story concept was solid, and it just didn't. It was apparently like one of the most expensive productions they've done, and it doesn't look the part. So I think that's just the money being spent or the decisions being made by the wrong person. Okay. So if they got a new showrunner or whoever's in charge of that kind of stuff, I think it could look the part and the storytelling itself would improve. So Nick Hall, in concept, it's awesome.
Okay. Nick Hall says Plagueis only having a cameo wasn't enough. There's a part of me that wants to disagree with that, Nick, because I feel like we wanted Plagueis in live action for so long that to finally get him, I think is pretty sweet. So to redeem a whole show, it's a whole nother.
I think they missed a golden opportunity there.
Yeah.
I mean, we were going to see a dark side story and we were told it was 100 years prior to episode 1. Perfect Plagueis timeline. So everyone was kind of expecting it.
Well, at least we know we'll get him back then. So, I mean, you can't just show him once.
Who knows when they're going to revisit that era?
It'll happen. I mean, it's very untapped territory, and they showed Plagueis. You cannot give the Star Wars fans Plagueis and then go, all right, that's it. You just can't. It cannot happen. It cannot happen. It cannot happen. So, Plagueis Cave Creeper will be back. We know that.
Yeah.
So, all right. So what do you have at number 7 on your list?
For number 7, I'm going with Tales of the Jedi / Empire, because again, it's a matter of the potential of the show wasn't so high. So the delivery of it was pretty okay. We're getting into the middle of the list where I'm neither too upset or too jazzed about it. It was cool to see the one thing that was cool to see was it seemed like they were able to pour just a little more attention to detail into every frame. And I'm an animation junkie, so it was at least pretty to look at. I'll give it that. It was really cool to see, and this is also one of our first chances to see like a lot of the Clone Wars characters done in the newest, highest budget animation style. As good as Clone Wars looked when it came out, a lot of these characters weren't in season 7, so we didn't get a chance to see it. And I feel like Tales of the Empire and Tales of the Jedi were just like a little bit extra. Like they just took a little bit more time with each episode. So like Grievous looks fucking incredible. That kind of stuff. Like when you see like the familiar Clone Wars stuff, but you're like, oh my God, if you just had a little bit more time, that's what it could have looked like. Like, holy shit. So the eye candy alone made that series worth it for me.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But again, as I said, I've got it down there just because it grabbed me, but it didn't grab me. So, and I don't know it enough, I should say. So that is why I have it down there. What I do have is my number 6 selection. And this one kind of surprised me that it wasn't a little bit higher because I really, really enjoyed this show. But it is the most recent Disney Plus Star Wars program. We have Skeleton Crew. So we're getting into stuff that I really liked. And I thought Skeleton Crew was a total blast. I thought they knocked it out of the park. It was, I think Goonies in space ended up being a pretty apt description. So I thought they pulled it off well. It was a different take on things. It was a little kid geared, but it was still fine for adults like you and I. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was just a really fun series. It had, as we mentioned in our season recap, it had some really cool tension parts in it to where it wasn't just all kids running around on a space adventure. I just thought they really stuck the landing with this show, and the characters were really intriguing, and you could have really messed this thing up by having kid actors, because Lord knows that there's been plenty of shows where kid actors just kind of come off wooden and crappy, just not because they suck, it's their age. What do you expect?
Right.
And I don't think that happened with this. I thought the kids were great, and Neil was an awesome character, and I just had a ton of fun with this show, and I really liked how it kind of brought me back to how I felt about Star Wars as a kid. It kind of gave you that kind of vibe, and so I really enjoyed it for that reason, and I looked forward to it every week, and I was like, oh, this is just cool. It wasn't too heavy. It was like not like something like Andor, which that it's they'd rather have a fart in that show than have somebody smile. But I mean, I had a lot of fun with Skeleton Crew, so I enjoyed it. I thought they did a great job with introducing something new to the Star Wars universe, and so yeah, I really enjoy it. Skeleton Crew at number 6 for me.
Yeah.
What about you?
Okay. I think that's a fair assessment right there. Yeah. I mean, I've yet to say Skeleton Crew, so clearly it's waiting higher up in my list. Yeah, I think this is definitely one of those cases of exceeding expectations. And
yes,
I think it appears on both our lists in a degree of how much did it exceed our expectations.
Yeah. Well, and for me, honestly, it exceeded my expectations a lot. I was not looking forward to it. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh boy, okay. I mean, we told the story before that when they announced it at Celebration, we're like, it's a story about what?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
So
maybe it's recency bias and the fact that it came off the heels of the Acolyte, but boy, what a 180, right?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It was just a fun show. I really enjoyed it, man. I thought it was really, really fun. So yeah. That's my number 6. What do you have at number 6?
At number 6, I went with the Book of Boba Fett. This is one where we were just talking about how shows get unfairly maligned sometimes. Yeah, this show has a lot of glaring errors. I think there's a lot of problems with it.
Cam McLeish agrees with you, by the way. That's his number 6 as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of problems with it, but this is the fun of ranking shows, is that this one actually got buoyed up by the things that I had to put below it. I'm not saying this one's really
Nice.
that great, but it does have its moments. It was really cool just to see like modern production on things like the Slave One and stuff Boba Fett's Starfighter.
No, isn't it Firestorm or some shit like that?
Yeah, Fire Spray or something
Fire
like that.
Spray, yeah. It's Slave One, damn it. It will forever be Slave
But
One.
yeah, I mean, there were so much cool visuals, and it was fun overall. That the stuff that didn't really track didn't bother me that much. And I mean, the first episode I loved that 6-armed creature, whatever that came out of the sand. Yep. I was like, yes, that is weird as hell, and that is like such awesome classic bullshit Star Wars, like in the best way. So right there, I was like kind of on board. And the fact that they made the Tuskens into like an actual culture, I thought was really interesting too.
Well, I mean, it expanded upon existing things pretty well. I'll get to that one. Actually, you know what? I can get to it now because it is my number 5, so it's technically next on my list. So we can talk a little bit about this here. I liked it too. I liked the Tuskens in there. Dude, anytime you get more Boba Fett, I'm on board. You had
I was curious to see what you'd have to say about this for that reason, because I know you're a big Boba Fett fan.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was awesome, and I know that you think it's better to have him be a little more mysterious and not know as much. And excuse me, a lot of people feel that way, and I get it. For me though, I liked it. I thought it was really cool to see, kind of a behind the scenes of the character. I think I would have preferred that he stay a little more scoundrel-y personally, but I don't mind it. I mean, dude, we got a Rancor like wreaking havoc on the streets of Tatooine. I mean, come on, that's bad as hell.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's worth the price of admission right there. I just wish that I understood what the point of the show was. I think that's the one of the reasons why it's down. I mean, it's my number 5, so it's in my top 5 of the shows, but I still can't figure out what the hell the point was, because as Nick Hall so astutely said, Mandalorian season 2.5, like, yeah, it was, you had a couple episodes that were just Mando episodes. I'm like, okay, so what the hell's the point of doing a Boba Fett show if you're just going to have it be like Mando stuff?
That was the one thing that gave me it gave me a hard time to put it as high as I did in the list, because I think that is frankly unforgivable. You leave season 2 of The Mandalorian with Grogu and Din going their separate ways, and then season 3 starts and they're back together, and you're like, fuck just happened? Like, it's a huge continuity problem to say like, oh, you didn't see that other show that actually has 2 episodes that are entirely not that show.
Yeah.
Like, that's bizarre. That is just bizarre.
I just wonder
what that reeks of is, they were going to do all these like anthology stories, right? Solo flops. They didn't proceed with Kenobi and they didn't proceed with Boba Fett. Those are the 3 rumored characters, right?
Yeah.
Book of Boba Fett absolutely reeks of, we had a movie and then we tried to make a limited series from it, but we didn't have enough. So then we threw in a couple episodes of The Mandalorian to pad out the season.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, it's so transparent.
Agree. Yeah, that's kind of how I saw it too, which kind of sucks. But I mean, it was still, to me, it was a good show. It was entertaining. I liked it. I liked it a lot. It was, again, to me, it was it was superfluous, but it had a lot of characters that I loved. I mean, dude, come on, Cad Bane. I'm just pissed that they killed him. Like, because that was awesome. That was awesome. What do you mean? Maybe killed him. Well, it is Star Wars. Anybody can, at least it's not.
Remember, the thing was beeping on his chest.
Oh, he was.
And it wasn't beeping before he got shot. So I don't know what the fuck that was, but
he was waiting for a table at the local sports bar, and they were letting him know his table was ready.
Yeah. Outback Steakhouse is telling him he's ready for a bloomin' onion.
Damn it. I really wanted those wings. But yeah, so I have that as
was awesome.
Yes, Black Chrysanthemum was awesome. The whole thing, like I said, it was. I just really enjoyed it. It was kind of mindless. I like every once in a while having a show like that where does this tie in? Like, what's the bigger picture? Like, nah, it's just let's watch some kick-ass Star Wars. Kind of like Skeleton Crew. It was kind of like that. It's like I don't need to know where it fits in the canon. I don't need to see Neil showing up in episode 10.
Mhm.
I don't need that. It's just fun to have a mindless good Star Wars story. It doesn't tie in. My problem with Visions is that I didn't care because it didn't tie in, but they did it very poorly to me. Whereas Skeleton Crew and Book of Boba Fett, they did it well.
Yeah. My biggest issue against Book of Boba Fett was the character turn itself, because nowhere in anything we ever heard about Boba Fett would indicate why he would give a shit and want to, one, take over Jabba's operation, and two, how anything he did in that show resembled being a crime lord.
Yeah. Yeah,
So.
it's definitely not without its flaws. I will say that. A few things you're kind of like, eh? Like I think it might have been a little better again if they left him more scoundrel-y. But then again, that's not really as interesting a story. How you gonna drag that story out over the course of an entire movie? Hey, here's Boba Fett. It's just him going out and being.
Look at The Sopranos, dude. You can definitely tell the story of a main character being a bad guy.
Well, but I'm saying in a movie, like if they're gonna tell a Boba Fett movie, it's like you already know he's a bad guy. So it's kind of. I don't think there's enough there. I would say because
I think they went all the way from turning him from a villain to a hero of sorts instead of an anti-hero.
Yeah,
he still could have been scoundrelly, but the guy that we cheer for. But instead, they're just like, all right, so what crimes has he committed? He actually went up to a dude who was gouging for water and shook him down to make sure he wouldn't. So he's actually defending the populace. And then he ran drugs out of town. So apparently, how is he the bad guy in any of this?
Boba Fett apparently is misunderstood in all of his other appearances.
He just wants people to be sober and well hydrated. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. He wasn't actually he wasn't taking the bounty for Han Solo and Empire. He was actually getting him away from Vader. He's trying to rescue him and save him, and he figured that Jabba's palace was the safest place to put him. He was just trying to protect him.
There's no water on Cloud City.
No water on Cloud City. Exactly. It's just clouds, goddammit. It's just clouds. No water. No condensation.
It's all vapor.
No vapor. No condensation. Nice. All right. So what do you have at number 5?
All right, number 5 for me. That's where Clone Wars season 7 ended up.
Okay.
I love me some Clone Wars first off, and you got Ray Park doing Darth Maul motion capture.
Yeah.
That's enough right there, man. That scene alone, I've rewatched that I don't know how many times. It's just amazing. And that entire final arc where they go with the unspecial edition intro of Return of the Jedi. They use the old font, just turned red instead of green. It says Lucasfilm Limited, all the stuff to make it as throwback finale feeling as they could. Peak Lucasfilm animation right there. So yeah, I had to give it massive ups. And like you said, it was fan demand that brought that show back. And I'm so glad that it happened because, yeah, there were some really good stories left untold. And we didn't get all of them, but we got some of them. And I thought it was really cool how they had that final arc be woven in and out of the intro and middle of episode 3. I thought that was really cool. I love those stories where they take the story. Well, what if the camera was pointed over here? I actually think the sequel to 300 was actually pretty good for that reason.
Okay.
It's the naval battle, and then you look over on the shore, you're like, oh, that's the original 300 taking place over there. Cool.
So do you agree with me that they kind of totally nailed the vibe of Clone Wars and kind of kept the momentum going from season 6 with that 7th season?
Absolutely. Well, season 6 especially was kind of a hodgepodge of whatever was left over when the show got canceled. So, I mean, the end of season 5 was the last, like, we know what the show is. We know that it's going to go on for a while, and we're firing on all cylinders. And season 6 was, okay, what's mostly done? What can we squeeze out on Netflix? The lost missions, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, season 7, for the most part, was awesome.
Yeah,
I think they did a good job adapting any storylines that had changed due to canon additions since the cancellation of the show. It was also really cool seeing Vader at the end in the Clone Wars style. I thought that was really poetic.
Yep. Well, and the animation I thought was excellent because it looked like the previous Clone Wars stuff, but it was just upgraded so much. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
So the look of the show was fantastic as well. So, yeah, I liked it more than I thought I would. So I give it a lot of credit for that. So, all right. So we are on our top 4 now. In 4th position for me, I have Bad Batch. And this show to me is either awesome or, yeah, it's okay. I'd say it's about half and half of that for me. Because the first season I thought was great. Second season, I was like, okay, I didn't like this as much as I'd hoped. Some superfluous Rebels-esque storytelling in there. And then season 3 was half and half. So overall, though, I really, really enjoyed it. I was very nervous about getting into it, considering how Clone Wars didn't quite grab me. And for whatever reason, Bad Batch, I got into right off the rip. Maybe it's because it started kind of quickly with the whole Order 66 thing. But I thought it was a really awesome show. I really enjoyed it. I like, you know, I guess for you, it's probably like you just mentioned, like the whole sequel to 300 thing and, you know, and whatnot, like where it's, you know, it's the same story, but told from a different kind of perspective. And I guess this is kind of like side missions of the Clone Wars or something, you know, or at least post Clone Wars, you know? So I thought that was really cool. And, you know, the characters were really engrossing. Even Omega, you know, some people crapped on Omega, but, you know, Tick, Rika, Hunter, Crosshair, and Echo, I thought they were great.
Don't forget when they got the dog, you know, they got Bitcha. So
oh yeah. I forgot Bitcher. It's just call her Bitcher instead of doing the accent. Their space dog Bitcher. All right, Kale, real quick. That show's not in here, Kale. Kale has Rebels. He says, take it or leave it. There's a lot to enjoy, including the final duel between Maul and Ben. Just go away. Just stop it. It's not. We're not even ranked. That one's not even in our rankings, Kale. And that quote unquote duel is a piece of shit.
There is still that timeout button. Just saying.
Yeah. Kale's gonna get dumped in timeout again. I'm sorry, man.
No. Honestly, the reason that's not in the list is because it was made in the Disney era, but it was put out on Cartoon Network. It was not on Disney Plus.
Yeah, that's why we have it there, Kale. Also, because it would be, if we were ranking it, we would then have 12 shows, and I would have to put Rebels at like number 17. So, but yeah,
behind droids, behind Ewoks, behind the holiday special.
Oh yeah, not a dude. That duel is terrible. It's terrible. Nick Hall says poetry. That duel is polarizing yet poetic. I hate it. 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 It's stupid. I don't give a shit. I don't want poetic. Don't build me up and only to give me like 2 seconds of something. Oh, that's brilliant. I don't want brilliant. I want to see them jumping around, flicking lightsabers in the Force at each other for like a solid 5 to 10 goddamn minutes. I don't want to see.
There's a reason WrestleMania main events take 30 minutes, no matter who's in it.
Thank you. That's the best analogy there is. Thank you. That'd be like freaking like Hulk Hogan and Andre being built up for a year for WrestleMania 3. Then they get in the ring and they pull the whole Kevin Nash Hulk Hogan title thing.
Yeah, Hogan scoops Andre 1, 2, 3. Boom.
Yeah. or no, they just do the chest poke. He pokes him in the chest. You know, Andre hits the mat and then he pins him. Like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
But yeah, so Bad Batch, I really, really liked it. I looked forward to it every week. again, I really liked the characters. I liked how even for a cartoon, like you really kind of got behind it. So when Iko, falls to his death at the end of season 2 or whatever it was, that specter of him coming back was just hanging over my head the whole time I watched season 3. I'm like, oh, is he coming back? Is he coming back? Like, because you wanted him back.
It was Tick though. It was Tick. It wasn't
Sorry, wrong one. I stand corrected.
They were kind of redundant in my mind.
I did get them confused a little bit. But yeah,
I was expecting him to come back in some form in season 3 as well.
Yeah, I think
no
it was
body,
brilliant.
no death, right?
Yes, the old Star Wars rule. Yeah, but I mean, I thought it was great that they didn't bring him back because you kind of had that wonder every time something was going on, like, oh, is this going to be the grand reveal of, oh, I'm still alive, and they didn't. So it kind of had a little bit of
really dark stuff in that show. By the way, my number 4 is also Bad Batch. So
there we go.
Just talk about that for a minute. Yeah.
Okay.
The whole tone, you're right. Like something about the show really grabbed me. And one, just the whole transition, it answered questions I didn't know I had. Like I never wondered what happened to Kamino after the Clone Wars, but yeah, what happened to Kamino after the Clone Wars? Oh, the Empire wiped it off the face of the galaxy. That's what happened to Kamino. And I felt that, man. Like the end of season 1, when they're like just laying siege to Tapoka City, I was like, damn, man, like I feel bad. It gave me the same sort of vibe as like when the Razor Crest got blown up, like things I didn't know I cared that much about, or like it's hard to watch.
Yes, I totally agree with you on that. I had the same thing. I was kind of like, wait a minute, like I didn't think I would give that much of a shit that they're destroying Kamino, but I'm like, wow, like, ooh. And
then all of season 2 was like Crosshair basically finding out how shitty of a choice he made.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
It was hard. Like even though he was like the bad guy, when you watched him like getting experimented on in Tantus and everything, you felt for the dude. Like he just made the wrong call. He sided with the wrong side, and even though it was his choice, you still felt for the guy.
Yeah. And I think that was kind of a cool swerve too, because I think usually what you would get there is he's a bad guy. Now it's going to be, his redemption in the last couple episodes or something, but it really wasn't. It kind of started earlier. It was like he was, he was like their golden goose for a quick second. And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, you're a clone, you're trash, F you.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was, and then I thought that was awesome. And I think they did a few things like that within the course of the show that I think were really interesting. And it was a cartoon that didn't feel cartoony to me for most of it. I think that's why I liked it. I think it like because of the darkness, like you said, there were some heavy aspects to it. I think that's why I liked it a little more than, some of the other animated shows. Because I get kind of caught up in the whole, this is a cartoon kind of thing.
Even the disposable, like you said, like half of it was important and cool and added to the lore, and the other half was like, why did we waste animation dollars on this? But even those filler episodes that Clone Wars was so renowned for as being like, God, I can't believe we just wasted that time. Even most of those were still at least fun, if nothing else. Like I remember when they were stuck in some cave, they were sent on some mission.
Yeah.
And they were trying to find what was it, crystals or something. They ended up activating some old giant robot from like millennia ago.
Yeah.
It just started like shooting lasers out of its eyes or something. It was like some giant like robo giraffe or something. I was like, damn, that's actually pretty cool. That's like Jedi Fallen Order kind of stuff right there.
What was it, the go-kart racing thing or whatever they were doing? Like the racing episode was kind of dumb, but yeah, I mean, even those, like, I'm glad you brought those up, because one of our biggest complaints about Rebels was the fact that there were those meaningless episodes, and those weren't. It's like, can we get back to the point here, please?
Mm-hmm.
And the Bad Batch ones weren't like that. It was like, all right, I'm still having fun with this.
Yeah, and we got the introduction of Tantus, which was really cool.
Yes.
And to see all the infighting between like the cloning program and the TIE Defender program and the Death Star program and all that sort of stuff, like them kind of, cannibalizing each other. I thought that was really cool.
Yep, I I definitely agree with that, man. I think the show was much better than I expected, and I I don't know. I hope it portends more stories in that vein with that kind
Do you think
of
it
vibe.
did? Do you think it was a credit to it or a disservice that it did the whole thing of like gave us answers that raised more questions? Stuff like, yeah, we dipped somewhat into like, okay, they wanted Omega's blood for cloning, but we're still not like saying like, oh yeah, Exegol needs that. It's clearly they pivoted to like, let's make Rise of Skywalker not suck so much with some supplemental material, Mandalorian and so on. Anytime clones are brought up, we know it's all just because they want to salvage Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, right.
But do you think that was that a detriment to the show to have that thrown in there as a wrinkle?
No, I think it was cool. I see, one of the things that I'm a huge proponent of that they're doing is you are seeing all this cloning stuff in these shows, and where it basically ends, but they're dragging it out so much and showing so many aspects of it I actually kind of enjoy that, because it is an important aspect of where the story goes. So I like that it's not just like 2 shows have it and then okay, Palpatine did it, boom. Like that to me, that'd be kind of dumb and anticlimactic. I like that they're just dragging it out, and you keep seeing more and more little pieces of what they're doing, and you have to wait to see where it goes. I like it. It's like one big long cliffhanger, and I'm enjoying that. So
yeah,
I like that they had part of it in there. So
they better see how the hell Ventress is alive, though.
Yeah, right. Well, another story they can tell. Speaking of another story they can tell, season 2 of this show comes out here next month. In third position on my list, I have Andor. And I think this was an awesome show. I think it's very unique. It's extremely character and dialogue driven, which is something new for Star Wars. And I don't really have any complaints about this one. Some people, have said that it, kind of gets going slowly. Kale said it. He says his number 4 is Andor. Great show, but just a touch too slow for me in certain spots. The second season is going to be great, though. That's the only complaint that I've really heard from people, is that they think that some people think it's slow. I didn't mind that. I liked how they kind of played things out, again, because it was unique. It was a different flavor of Star Wars. So I thought that was a very cool thing to present. So I'm a big fan of this, and I'm very much looking forward to season 2. I think the presentation is very interesting, and I think it's hopefully going to work really well. My concern is that cramming a year's worth of stuff into 3 episodes, and therefore 4 years worth of stuff into 12 episodes, I'm hoping it's not going to feel way too rushed.
Mm-hmm.
But I love the characters. I love the story and where we know it ends. So I also have very, very high hopes for Andor season 2. And I just thought Andor was great. It was hyped up because of Rogue One, and I don't think it disappointed at all. So big fan of Andor. So that's my number 3.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it, how they could take a show and it fits right up to Rogue One. It feels like it's definitely in the same universe, same style and everything. But Rogue One was like this whirlwind of a movie where you had to introduce 8 characters and off 8 characters and have a plot in between and all this other stuff. And yet Andor is like, let's take our time with this. I do think that having like the 3 episode arcs was definitely a great way to go, because yes, it was slow moving, but it wasn't like, sorry, I'm watching it right now. I'm rewatching it right now. Daredevil, the Netflix Daredevil, where like an entire 13 episode season was one story arc. So you're like, Jesus, it's compelling, but like no particular episode stands out because it's just a chapter in a larger story. It doesn't really stand on its own. Whereas like for the most part, every episode of Andor, you can watch it and still feel like, okay, we got somewhere at least.
Yeah.
because you're only moving in like three acts of a story instead of one of 12 acts. You know what I mean? So yeah, incredibly well done. I think it looked great too. So yeah. For me, number 3, I put down Skeleton Crew. Again,
Right,
just
wow,
like this one,
top 3. Okay.
so far exceeded my expectations. There were literal laugh out loud moments every week. There was just some moment of pure delight or humor that was so unexpected that I just laughed. And there were a couple of times they even choked up, which, hey, I love my Star Wars, but it doesn't hit me in the feels that hard, you know?
Okay.
So there were a couple of times with the show, I'm like, man, all right, they're doing it right. I'm feeling stuff I didn't expect to feel. They're telling story beats I didn't expect to see. And it looked fantastic too. So hit all the notes for me. I don't really know what else to say about it other than I hope it gets a season 2, and I hope they do it fast because, you know, they're kids. They age quickly in real life. So if they don't get in front of cameras soon, it's going to be a little bit jarring.
It'll
But
be
they
weird.
have said they've got ideas for future seasons.
I was going to say, I think the only thing that you've got is that, you know, Jod is, you know, alive or whatever. Other than that, like the kids, it's kind of like a closed-ended thing. So I wonder what they would do with it.
Well,
So,
I mean, the whole thing of these, you know, treasury planets from the High Republic era and whatnot, brand new concept. Doesn't wreck anything going on in the galaxy right now, but now we've got to deal with that. So now that this treasure planet is known to the New Republic, okay, who's coming for it?
yeah, good point. Good point. Kale McLeish has his number 3 as the Clone Wars. Fans didn't save the show for nothing, and the ending was awesome. By the way, Nick Hall had an awesome comment, real quick, talking about the Maul and Obi-Wan duel. And Nick Hall, with our wrestling analogy, says squash matches have their places too, guys. Very good point. Very good point. I will give you that, man. I'll give you that, Nick. All right. So
Again, they're talking about a whole episode that just didn't need to happen. So you're busy introducing this whole story of the Rebels crew, and that episode was Ezra being almost non-existent, Chopper having to stay at the ship. So Obi-Wan and Darth Maul, 2 characters from nowhere in that show whatsoever, could have a showdown. Like,
yeah,
none of that had any place in that story whatsoever.
neither did a shitty duel.
Right. So,
all right,
you know,
so
Acolyte was good story told badly. That was bad story told badly.
I completely agree with that. All right, so we are on our final 2, and number 2 for me is the Mandalorian. Is the Mandalorian. So the one that started it all. The one that started it all. I mean, what more can you say? It's just awesome. I've loved all 3 seasons. I've loved the characters. I love the Easter eggs. When you get, like, you know, some legacy characters in there here and there, it's a blast. When they've introduced new characters, it's been really cool. I don't have a bad word for the Mandalorian. You know, the whole thing of bringing in, you know, Baby Yoda. I mean, come on. That first episode, when that happened, you're like, what the fuck? Get out of here. Like,
exactly. Like, that's one of those weird little plot threads that you didn't even remember. And then it pops up. You're like, oh shit, that is a thing.
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
well,
exactly. Like,
you know, IG-11,
if
you know.
Yeah, if there's anything that was a problem for the Mandalorian, it's that, man, did that set the bar stupid high for everything to follow, right?
Yeah,
Like,
but you know what?
Especially season 1 was such a revelation, and then we're like, okay, what else you got, Disney Plus? And then they start coming out with other stuff. We're like, it's not as good as The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
It's just because nothing could be.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. But I'm kind of glad it did. I mean, because I was nervous as hell. I was kind of like, okay, live action Star Wars, is this going to look good? Is it going to look more like that footage we saw from the you know, the stuff that George Lucas was working on back in the early 2000s that was very, you know, cheaply made prequel stuff. What were we going to get here? And even just the first episode, you're like, oh, dude, in my veins, man. Here, just right there, just tap, 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 inject it, give me more. Like, and it was off and running from the get-go, and it never disappointed.
And it did something crazy where, like, especially sonically, Ludwig Göransson, like, nothing of the soundtrack of that show was like anything Star Wars had before. Yep. And yet at no time was I like, this isn't Star Wars. Yeah. Totally takes me out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole thing was just done so beautifully. And I mean, talk about, a hit right when they needed it. Here's this new streaming service. Check out, this is why you should pay for it. Okay. Is this going to be any good? Yeah, it kicks ass.
Mm-hmm.
Like, thank God. So, yeah,
they needed a hit to sell the platform, and boy, did they get one.
Yes, 100%. I mean, you could easily make the statement that this show definitely, bolstered the network, but also continues to. I think because people are looking to see if there's going to be more.
Yeah,
and I think
Star Wars
people
lives and dies on the Mandalorian at this point.
Yeah. I mean, that's really, the culmination of everything is going to be in the Mandalorian Grogu movie next year. So, which
I don't think so.
It all ties together in there. That's what I heard.
No, I think that they just decided, they've realized that they make money at movies and they don't make money on Disney Plus. So they just they converted a season of television into a movie, essentially. I don't think this is that culmination movie that was supposed to be Ahsoka meets Book of Boba Fett meets Mandalorian meets Rangers of the New Republic. The Filoniverse movie, I think, is still down the road sometime.
Oh, okay. Well, then I am mistaken. Okay. Yeah, no.
Yeah. The reason we can gush about this one is, once again, we have the same ranking. So I put The Mandalorian at number 2 as well. Okay. I think the biggest problem The Mandalorian has is the burden of carrying the franchise, because I think it's gotten worse for having to tie into more things. When they started bringing in Clone Wars characters, and then in season 3 in particular, they really were trying to like expand the scope beyond Din to where now it's the Mandalorians. Maybe it's the story of Bo-Katan overall at this point.
Right. Yeah.
And like, I just want to get back to, like, that's why I like the ending of season 3, because it just ended up with Din and Grogu just hanging out there chilling. And whenever they get called back into action, it's just going to be them again.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. One of the things that I really like about it is I still wonder about the whole Jedi training thing. I just feel like that can't be over. Like, he's, there's, you can't have baby Yoda and then have him be like, nah, I'm sticking with this guy because he's my friend. Like, nah, I know the hell you are.
Especially knowing he grew up at the temple.
Yeah. It's like, look, you little green bastard, get in there and train. I want to see some more Yoda ass kicking fights. Like, you have a mantle to carry. Get in there. Start training, man. Go find Luke Skywalker again. I want more Luke Skywalker. Like, you can keep Ahsoka the hell away, but yeah, give me more Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, right. We're pretty sure that Grogu is Yaddle and Yoda's kid at this point. Yeah.
It'd be pretty funny if it wasn't, Yeah,
I mean, it'd be weird. I feel like we're probably going to get an answer to that. That's one of those things that eventually the storytellers are just going to not be able to stay away from. It's going to be too tempting. It's like Boba Fett all over again, where you're like, we want to know more. We want to know more. And then they give us more. We're like, oh, we didn't really want to know more. We didn't like that.
Yeah. Just picture Yoda and Yaddle doing it. And that's, yeah, there you go.
What if they really move like Yoda does when, in episode 2, when he's fighting Dooku? Maybe their sex is crazy.
Like crazy fast?
Yeah.
Like hopping all over each other and everything. Maybe it's like I'm not going there. We're on the virtual Cantina network. I'm not gonna. I was about to be gross. Like,
what do you think Yoda's body count is? I mean, he's got like 850 years of conquest, so I'm pretty sure the notches in that bedpost run pretty deep.
And he's got the Force. I mean, he doesn't have to take no for an answer.
I don't like that implication, sir. I don't like to think that Yoda's using Jedi mind tricks on people. Okay.
Wouldn't you?
No, I would not.
Okay, I've said it on
What,
the
you
show
just be
before.
going around like, you want to sleep with me? You want to take your clothes off?
No, I would get their phone number, and then you kind of, dude, why not if you can? I mean, is that considered like assault?
To a dark place, this line of
Yeah,
thought.
exactly.
Don't do that, man. Don't bring that up.
Okay, I wonder how that would be classified. That's interesting. Is it coercion? Is it assault? Like,
Yeah, it's very much coercion.
Interesting. All right.
I mean, the Jedi mind trick is basically a roofie. It's a Force roofie.
Force roofie. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Chastity has spoken.
Dump out.
Yeah, dump out. Chastity Crawley says assault 100%. Okay. If a woman says it's assault, then it's assault. I will in this context. I will agree with that. I always wondered where that would fall. Like if you're like it's if you're a Jedi, like I mean they do shady shit with other stuff. So
I'm so glad we
they just chalk it up to the Force
podcast before this came up.
Yeah, I mean it's they do other shady shit and they just chalk it up to the Force. So I think I too would
nothing but
consider
the hardcores left in the audience. It's okay. I think gloves are off now.
I too think it would be considered assault, just so we're clear. But that's I would ask a question, but I think we're over that topic. All right, so so I have Mando at number 2, and what do you have at number 2? I do believe
also the Mando.
Yeah, so. I was gonna say you said the Mando. So that leaves
by process of elimination, I now know what your number 1 is.
Yes. So my number 1 is Kale's number 2. Kale says number 2, Kenobi. It's definitely got problems, but it's always a fun watch. Binged it on New Year's Eve and ended 2024 with that last episode. That sounds fun.
I'm not even gonna be on camera for this. Just go.
Look, while I was preparing, just go. I love Kenobi. I think it's a lot of fun. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. If you want to rewatch it, binge it. It works better as one giant long presentation, at least to me. I just had a blast with it. And it's difficult for me to explain why. I just know that I loved it more than the other shows. And I had a ton of fun with it. I liked the story. I liked the throwbacks. Getting more Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan is always welcome. And I think I really liked seeing, the backstory, like expanding on that character of Obi-Wan, it's kind of like Luke in The Last Jedi. They did with him in The Last Jedi. It kind of expands the character. And I think they did the same thing with Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Kenobi television show. AJ hates it. But he also drops barbells on his face. So, what the hell does he know? Clearly. This show did more for me than any of the others. I love Mando. I love Andor. But when I think of, man, I'm going to binge some Disney Plus, it's going to be Kenobi. Because I just think it's such a cool story. And seeing kind of Obi-Wan come back from, the pits of, I guess you would just say, depression and, disassociating himself from the Force. Like, it's such a great ride for me. So, I mean, yeah, as Kale said, it has its flaws. Yeah, I mean, it's not perfect, but I loved it. It's my favorite. And so it's been my favorite since they released it. So that's my number 1. So, yeah, AJ, obviously we now know your number 1. So why don't you talk about your number 1 show?
All right. Well, it's Andor. It's absolutely Andor. Again, you talk about expectations versus delivery. This show just the first thing that they were smart about was they started with an episode dump, because if they had just gone with that first episode and then made you wait for the second episode the next week, everyone would have tuned out. It's a great story arc, but you know what? That's one you have to binge. It is not a drip feed kind of story arc. From that point on, yes, I think it was actually I think they did the first 2 episodes and then it made you wait for the conclusion to that story arc. And that's even before we knew that it was a story arc sort of format with 3 episodes per story.
Did you really put Turdy Wonk and Poopy?
Yes, I did.
In the banner for number 1. Oh my God.
Anyway, no, Andor was just like, it was so much better than anyone expected it to be or it needed to be. It looks amazing. Like, talk about the dollars were well spent. Like, it looks like a movie. There's nothing about this where you think like, oh my God, it's Rogue One on a budget. Like, no, it's just Rogue One. It just looks the same, which was out fucking standing. The characters they introduced, like Luthen Rail, fantastic. Getting more Mon Mothma and her backstory was awesome as well. Cyril Karn, Dedra Miro, Bix, they're all awesome. So the new characters were good. They weren't out of place. So everything that was like a little bit different for Star Wars still fit in with Star Wars, but then also fit in with that Rogue One aesthetic, which I think is like its own thing. It's Star Wars, but then on a gritty level of realism that the rest of Star Wars just doesn't have. And yet it wasn't weird. Like, when I see Dedra wearing a trench coat, I'm like, yeah, she would wear a trench coat. It's not like, oh my God, it's just a trench coat. They didn't even try to Star Wars it up.
Yeah.
Like everything just works. And then you get the whole, like the Ferrex thing feels like a real place. And I love that the culmination is this big, like funeral dirge, like New Orleans kind of style to it, where there's this funeral march to the town square and you hear the final remarks and they get made into a brick that becomes, in Rick's Road and everything. Like the world building was fantastic. The storytelling was incredible. The acting was great. And it was shot and portrayed so well too. Like the scene that still sticks with me all the time is the torture scene with Bix. Like, you never hear what she hears. So all you've got is just that silence and then her reaction to whatever's going on in those headphones.
Yep.
And I absolutely get why it's the one that can keep being rewatched and appreciated more and more and more and more and more. I think that's the difference. This is the difference in our fandom overall, I think, is like, for me, the more I watch Kenobi, the more it falls apart. And it's like Rise of Skywalker that way. Rise of Skywalker, loved on the first watch. And every time I watch it since then, I'm like, oh, it's a little worse. And Andor is just the opposite for me. I find new stuff every time. It's like Last Jedi in that way.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think, and who knows, season 2 might be a giant turd. So this ranking could totally change. But based on season 1, I'm hoping, like you said, cramming 4 years of history into 12 episodes isn't going to be a problem for season 2.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I can't fault you for putting that at number 1. It's almost like it's like if you took one of those like serious drama shows, that you see on like Sunday nights or something on, CBS or something, you combined it with Star Wars. It's almost kind of like that. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, I would say mature Star Wars, I guess would be a way to phrase it. But
Yeah.
I think it works. And I think you hit the nail on the head when you said it looks like Rogue One. It's got the full Rogue One feel to it. And honestly, I was nervous about the show because of how much I loved Rogue One. I was like, oh, please don't kind of be a piece of crap and ruin that. And boy, it doesn't. It definitely does not. It is excellent. So
Mhm.
yeah, I can't blame you. Can't blame you for that. So
I'm looking forward to season 2. I'm also looking forward to Star Wars Celebration to find out what else is happening, because there's really nothing else on the radar after that aside from the Mandalorian and Grogu.
I'll be very interested. Yeah, I'll be very interested to see what comes out of Celebration Japan next month. We'll be doing some coverage of that for the network. So stay tuned for that. we are on call, so we'll be doing some virtual Cantina Network news relating to Star Wars Celebration. So that'll be pretty cool. And again, that is next month in Japan. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, you would assume there's going to be something about the movie. There's got to be something about the man. What did I call it? The Mandu and Grogu. Like,
Mandu and Grogu. That's right.
Mandu and Grogu. There's got to be something about that, and like you said, like future projects, like just give us something, because it does seem like we're in kind of a dead space right now, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that they announced that never materialized or has been so long in development we're not even sure if it's happening anymore.
Yeah,
so,
completely agree.
Yeah.
Completely agree. So.
Which might be the whole plan. That's why there might be a lack of official stuff at this point. They're just waiting for Celebration.
Yeah, totally. All right, man. Well, on that note, why don't we close up shop for another episode here? Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to another episode of the Nerf Herder Council. Appreciate all you guys in the chat, as always. Chastity Crawley, Nick Hall, Lobster Lover, Kale McLeish, Discuss Metal Joe, all of our good buddies. We appreciate you. It's always awesome to hang out with you and bullshit Star Wars for a little bit, or whatever the hell else we're talking about. Guys, as always, we are brought to you by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/NHC for your 30-day trial and a free audiobook download. If you'd like to get some virtual Cantina Network swag, just go to tpublic.com/user/virtual-cantina. And if you'd like to get some customizable Nerf Herder Council swag, just go to shop.nerfherdercouncil.com. We are going to be right back here at all of our fun locations in 2 weeks. The 2 weeks. The date will be Wednesday, March 26th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So hopefully we see all you guys.
All right,
then.
I got to fix you on this, dude.
Okay.
For years you've been doing this. Years. It's daylight savings time now. It does change. Just say Eastern Time and be done with it.
I don't care. It's close enough. I'm not here to be accurate, god damn it. I'm here to just say it. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Who cares? You had to do that.
It's been bugging me for years, dude. Friggin'
Eastern
years.
Time. Fine, I'll just say Eastern Time. I'll say Cleveland Time. And people can figure it out from there. I'll make up my own. Ass.
Exactly what someone who loves 31 Poopy would say.
What the hell do you know? Fucking jerk. You put it out at like number 9? What the hell? Get out of here with that hating on Kenobi bullshit. See, I finally nail an outro and you derail me. You dick.
You didn't nail it.
I
Time
did
zones
so.
matter.
Oh, you are such an ass. Oh my god. All right, so we'll be back here on March 26th. Before we jump out of here, Chastity Crawley, daylight savings time can go to hell. Yeah, that was kind of rough on me last weekend. That never happened to me before, but yeah. Discuss Metal Joe, time zones, the real Purgle. Yes. So, all right, man. Before we get out of here, anything for the crowd, or are you all talking?
Yeah, I'm gonna pimp one last time. We got our socials down at the bottom of the screen at all times now. We're trying to get this Discord spun up, so if you're on Discord anywhere, go to discord.nerfherdercouncil.com because we get lonely between shows, and frankly, we're not that creative. So let's bullshit between the shows, and maybe we'll come up with some interesting stuff to talk about every other Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
Well played. Well played. All right, guys. Well, once again, we appreciate you tuning in to another episode of the Nerf Herder Council. We will see you right back here on Wednesday, March 26th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And until then, I am your host, JT. He is AJ.
At Drake Adams 579.
And we will catch you next time.
Bucket of bolts is never gonna get us past that blockade.
This bucket's got a few surprises left in her. Plus, me and Chewie are on it. Ain't that right, Chewie?
Hell yeah, you my Nerf herder.
You my Nerf herder.